So you want to be a boat builder. It looks glamorous, doesn't it? Master of your own destiny and making a grand living. But how seriously have you really considered what's involved? Perhaps you've come from a boating background. Perhaps you've worked in a boat building shop. But have you ever run your office, hired employees, sent out 1099s, carried workman's compensation, complied with EPA regulations, risked the financial future of yourself and your families on a first-time venture? Now that's a lot to consider. You can't take it lightly. Anyone starting a manufacturing business should have knowledge of private enterprise and have small business experience. In general, there seems to be two types of boat builder. One comes from the marketing side and knows how to sell. Is this you? Then you may stand a chance because you'll know to whom and how to sell or distribute your product. Unfortunately, the second type of would-be boat builders comes from the engineering side, meaning they have great ideas but not a clue about how to sell. Think about it and classify yourself. The first step in getting into the boat building business is to develop a business plan. Even at its most simplistic, a business plan requires a great deal of forethought and research. What do you intend to build? What scale of manufacturing do you plan at the onset? Is it realistic? What facilities are available? How much will it cost? Most new boat builders fail because they underestimate the time and resources it takes to start and maintain a business until it reaches profitability. They also don't have a clue about cost and sale price, which determines profits. Did you know that saleability of a staple product such as runabouts and fishing boats under 18 feet is hard to sell for a profit? Why? Because the market is full of choices. The boat is difficult to build for a profit. Simply put, you have to do market research. Have you thought about the outlets for your product? How's it going to be sold? Can you sustain operations long enough to get enough sales and start making a profit? Are you sure you've accurately estimated the construction costs of your product? Can you afford the buildings, tools, equipment, and employees needed to build your boats? Do you have reserve funds to support your operations during the initial phases of production and all the way through marketing? Are you prepared for errors in design, errors in prototyping, errors in manufacturing, which will cause rework and longer manufacturing time? Time which equates to more money expenditure through labor costs and overhead. And what about financing? Should private investors or small business loans fund your operation? Here's a brief listing of some things you'll need to consider in your business plan if you expect people to take a financial risk on your endeavor. Did you get all that? It's a lot, but don't hit the rewind button just yet. At the end, we'll show you how to get more detailed information. The point is, most people think about their idea of the perfect boat, but they never analyze the items mentioned in the list. Something that you may not have considered are the many local, state, and federal laws that deal with environmental issues that concern you. For example, have you heard of EPCRA? That's the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, and it regards emergency planning and reporting to your local community of the hazardous and toxic chemicals that you may use to build your boats. MSDS's, Material Safety Data Sheets, are required for all the chemicals in your inventory. EPA. Year after year, we witness the EPA attempting to reduce styrene emissions from lamination. Are there any restrictions of this type on your desired site? Then there's the Toxic Chemical Release Reporting Form. There are severe penalties for not filing this one. Are you familiar with the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, or the EPA's regulations concerning open mold fiberglass lamination? Do you have environmental-related permits, stormwater permits, clean air permits? Better find out now rather than later. The penalties can be financially painful. Safety. It's critical. Critical for your employees and your products. You're responsible. And then there's liability. Liability for your mortgage, lease of your facility, routine payroll, liability for insurance, utilities, and numerous expenses. your working environment will have to meet OSHA standards. Are you aware that you are responsible for the safety of those who use your products? And if your product is ever subject to a recall, it's at your expense. The Coast Guard can direct recalls if you fail to meet minimum federal regulations or if your product contains a safety defect. This could be financially disastrous to a new company. Your boats will need to comply with the many standards and regulations defined by the Coast Guard under Title 33 of the Code of Federal Regulations. And you must acknowledge this compliance through a certification label affixed to each and every boat that you produce. Your boat should also comply to the standards published by the American Boat and Yacht Council. And then talk with the National Marine Manufacturing Association about their certification program. Needless to say, it would be wise to have both a corporate attorney and a competent insurance agent to help you navigate through these complexities. In the end, no matter how well built, engineered, and certified your boats may be, you still have to sell them. That's what being in business is all about. How are you going to sell your product? Who are your customers? How do you get to them? What are your connections? How much can you really get for your boats? Is it enough? Can you make a profit? You better have some pretty good answers, or you won't be in business for long. Selling, marketing. This is the chief reason new boat builders fail, because they don't know how to sell their product. Factory direct sales is one of the easiest methods for a boat manufacturer, but requires that the customer come looking for you. A dealer network increases your access to the market, but then your profit margin is lower. Have you factored in transportation costs when shipping your boats? Bottom line pricing to the consumer might easily escalate your products to unreasonable amounts. And then there's advertising. It's essential. People have got to know about your product in order to buy it. Have you established advertising and promotional budgets at 10% of your projected net annual sales? You better. A boat is only as good as the materials that go into it. Have you determined what supplies and parts you'll need? Have you planned for their purchase? Fiberglass, finishing materials, wood kits, hardware, electrical panels and gauges. Do you have a reliable working relationship with your vendors? Don't be naive about volume wholesale price purchasing. A starting business with low production will have to buy mostly through distributors instead of obtaining the advantage of original equipment manufacturer's purchase price, OEM for short. Commitment. I can't stress this enough. Being in business for yourself will consume a large part of your life. Are you willing to give up your evenings, weekends, and holidays, whatever it takes, to make your business work? Is your personal credit strong? The savings and credit ratings of you and your family will be on the line for all your new accounts. Are you, your spouse, and your family willing to make the sacrifices of time and money that it takes to build a successful business? So, do you still want to be a boat builder? It's a lot to consider. Just make sure you've thought it through and have done the proper research. For more detailed information concerning boat building, regulations, and guidelines, complete the enclosed application and return it to the Coast Guard in a self-addressed envelope. Good luck and have a successful venture.